Oh, hey y'all, Dan here. Thanks for joining me today. Hey, I have a question for you. Do you ever get frustrated? Do you ever get just aggravated? Do you ever feel like all the circumstances are just wanting to wrestle with you? Let me give you a secret. A monk gets frustrated too. I'm going to give you some suggestions. I hope I can encourage you how to get past it, how to keep on focusing, how to keep on going, how to succeed in this struggle, how to win the wrestling match with the circumstances around you. Let's talk about it. Well, I've been working on this documentary that I'm really excited about. I'm looking at various historic places across Kansas, and I want to take a photo at each one of these historic sites at night with the Milky Way extending over the site to try to bring together this idea of the state motto of Kansas, which is ad astra per aspera, to the stars through difficulties. And I think of the people who came out through here on prairie schooners and wagon trains as they came across and they stayed here and they settled this land. Rugged people, people who found all sorts of challenges as they were coming across. And I want to tell the story, but I want to tell it through the stars. And I have it all in my head. So last week I went out to Baxter Springs, Kansas. Baxter Springs is down in the southeast corner of the state, a little bitty village down there. And there in the center of the town at Baxter Springs is Fort Blair. It's also known as Fort Baxter. And I wanted to do that as one of the historic sites for this documentary series. Fort Baxter, Fort Blair was a little outpost, and it was there during the American Civil War. The soldiers who were stationed there really didn't have good defenses. The fort wasn't well designed. And to make matters worse, they had taken out the west side of the breastworks to protect the soldiers inside the little outpost. They took that down because there was a troop of cavalry. 100 soldiers, cavalry soldiers, were supposed to come in to reinforce the fort. Cantrell and his marauders were known to be operating in the area, so they were reinforcing the post in anticipation of an attack. Well, the attack did come, and when Cantrell came through, he just slaughtered the soldiers. 100 Union soldiers died in that attack. It was a dark period in American history, and I wanted to tell that story from there. There's a little log cabin that sits on the edge of the fort. It was called a blockhouse. Originally, it was a trading post, and then when the Army came in, they used it sort of as a supply post, and then after the attack, it was the infirmary where they treated the wounded soldiers. And my goal was to tell the story, but then in my mind, I had this picture of the Milky Way extending up over the top of the cabin, and then there's a flagpole there with a period flag that's flown over it, and I wanted to get the Milky Way going over the top of all of that. It was in my mind. And then there's a unique way that you can take multiple pictures of the sky at night, and you stack those pictures on top of one another as a way of reducing the noise, because you're taking picture, when it's at night, and high ISOs and long camera shutter settings. And so it's just challenging to have a nice clean picture, and this was a way of doing it. So my plan was to take a picture of the cabin up front with the flagpole, and then take a series of pictures of the sky, and then sort of stitch that together into a panorama. Well, this is when reality starts to set in. The forecast was clear skies, but clouds had rolled in. And I kept looking at the forecast, and it kept saying that the clouds would clear out by 3:30, and then by 4 o'clock, and then 5 a.m. the clouds were supposed to be gone. At around 4:45 in the morning, the clouds started to dissipate. And then at 5, it was a clear sky. But being there in the middle of town, I had a lot of light pollution to deal with. And it was just hard to get a nice, clear shot of the sky. I couldn't get the Milky Way with all its beautiful, gases, these fiery looking gases that are in the core of the galactic center of the Milky Way. I just couldn't get it to come up. But I went ahead and I did the photo shoot. I got the front of the cabin, and I took the sky, got it all home, tried to stitch it together, and when I would put it together in this panorama, it got this weird looking fisheye effect on the bottom. And no matter what I did, I couldn't make it work, and I was frustrated. Didn't know what I was going to do. I figured, and I told my wife, I said, I'm just going to have to go back and shoot it again. Baxter Springs is about an hour-and-a-half drive from the house. That means that, I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I get there at 3:30. I get set up. I finally get finished, usually around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Drive back home at 7:30, and it's a long day. Really didn't want to have to go back, but I didn't see any other choice. So, what did I do? I went for a walk. Life always seems to be better when you go for a walk. Your troubles seem to disappear a little bit when you go for a walk. So that's what I did. And then when I went back, I thought, well, there's got to be a way of doing this. And instead of doing a panorama, I decided to do a blended shot. So I used a program called Starry Landscape Stacker. It's specifically for Apple products, for if you're using a PC, there's a different program that you would use to do this, but it aligns the stars and it stacks the stars and it cancels the noise. Worked out really well. It's a pretty simple program to use. Has to be simple for me to do it. But I used this Starry Landscape Stacker. I got the sky nice and clear, and then I took the foreground and I cleaned that up in Lightroom. And then I moved it all over to Affinity Photo. Now, if you have Photoshop, it does the same thing. It's just a different program and does it in about the same way. I used Affinity Photo and blended the two photos together, and it worked. This is the photo that I got. I think it's usable. What do you think? It's not perfect. There's more that I'd like to do, and I may end up going back and doing it again, but for the purposes of what I'm trying to do, I think this one would tell the story that I'm trying to tell. So here's the point I'm trying to make. You're frustrated, you're aggravated, you feel like all the circumstances around you are trying to wrestle with you. Don't give up. Step away, come back to it, Look for other ways of doing what you're wanting to do. Be flexible enough to make it work for you. Win. There's more than one way of skinning that cat. There's more than one way of accomplishing your goal. Don't give up. Let's get out there and do it. I know you can. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path, and God bless you.